Hey, Tony, I need a favor.
Now? Now you need a favor? We're late. We gotta go record the show. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Oh, great. Another recap show. Knowing you guys it'll last longer than WrestleMania. Fuck that, I'm not doing it.
Oh, no.
It's time for another wrestling podcast.
All right. Man, I'm WrestleMania hungover. This is 187. I'm Credo, your mark of marks.
I'm alive. I could say I got through WrestleMania weekend because I'm Minority Mike, but I am alive.
And I am everyone's favorite asshole, the social assassin, Angry Cooter. Bitches.
And we're just coming off the tails of WrestleMania week. It's more than a weekend. There's a lot of shit that happened. But guys, if you're tuning in tonight, make sure you stay tuned because we have Terri Runnels joining us. She's got a new podcast up and running, Cigars, Scars, and Superstars. She's in the podcast game, so she'll be talking to us in a little bit. Guys, any favorite Terri Runnels moments?
Anytime she was out there, Jerry Lawler just screaming puppies made me die laughing. My God.
I don't know if she'll ever remember this. A couple years ago, Raw was in Albany, and she was doing an autograph signing outside of the Times Union Center. We went in this restaurant, and she was in there. I forgot, maybe this was like 5 or 6 years ago. Wow. And I bought her a drink. She took the drink and walked away from me.
She never came back, Mike.
Oh,
Never came back.
But she's
She
here
blocked
tonight.
you in real life, bro. She blocked you in real life.
She's here
I don't know if she will
tonight.
remember this, but I remember it like it was yesterday.
Heartbroken. There we go.
I was heartbroken.
You hear that, Terry? You're breaking people's hearts already. But she's going to be joining us, guys. We're going to talk to her about a few little things, so stay tuned for that one. We also, it's the end of WrestleMania week, and now we're having a big superstar shakeup. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later on. But once again, guys, if you're the first time listening, anotherwrestlingpodcast.com. All of our links are on there, especially our new places that you can hear us, from Spotify to iHeartRadio, and so on and so forth. Like us, follow us, subscribe to us, leave us a good review on iTunes or whatever you're listening to us on. We want to hear the reviews. We want to see what you guys think about us, so let us know. But guys, like I said, I'm hungover. Do you need a break? I feel like I need a vacation now. There's so much wrestling that happened in the past few days. I don't know what to do with myself.
I think this is just like the fucking holidays, dude. You're just so thankful when like Christmas and New Year's and all that shit is over. Like, you're happy when it's going on, and then when it's over, you're like, oh, thank God.
No, I'm sitting there and I'm just like, once we got through WrestleMania, all 7 hours of it, and I'm like, oh, it's over. And then I realized, wait a minute, timeout. One of those Saved by the Bell timeouts where everybody freezes.
Yeah.
And I realized that, we have Raw tomorrow. We have SmackDown again on Tuesday, followed by 205 Live, and then NXT on Wednesday. And then if you want to be a real hardcore fan, you're going to watch Impact on Thursday, which I will not. I'm all out. I'm done. I'm good to go. Like, I want to take a nap from professional wrestling for a little bit. Just take a break. Breather. That's what I need.
Oh man, definitely. You know, the weekend started. I mean, they had all the other independent shows which everybody was watching, but I mean, the main part for WWE was Friday with the Hall of Fame, dude. Man, we were talking before. This is like, I trust me, I love everybody that's in the Hall of Fame and whatnot, but come on, it started out like 7 or 8, and it went to like 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, man, we need to wheel this back in. We need to cut down some things. Give a time limit on speeches or something, man. That was a Friday night and a half.
I was saying to you guys before we started recording that I'm probably going to get WrestleMania package tickets for next year when they're in Jersey. And if the Hall of Fame tickets are in that package, no disrespect to the people that are getting inducted, but I'm not going. I'm selling those tickets. I'm not going to sit in that arena for 7 hours.
Just listening.
With no excitement, just listening. Like, I'd rather go to an independent show. I'd rather make money off of those tickets, freaking sell them for double the value, and go someplace else where I could watch Evolve or Matt Riddle's Bloodsport 2, because the first one was fucking great. Man, I'd rather watch that than sit through the Hall of Fame again.
It was long.
I cannot agree with you more. For somebody who went the year they inducted Bruno in the Garden, I mean, I'm like expecting, all right, maybe 2-3 hours. That was just brutal. And that was the year that they kept the theme song was "Running in the Hall of Fame," and they played that fucking song.
Oh man!
Every 2 seconds in between every, like I wanted to put a gun in my mouth.
Well,
it was a great class, but at the end of the day, you're just like, all right.
Done. I know. Yeah, I hear you. It's definitely long, and I get it. They want to try to outdo the last year and the year before that, and so on and so forth. But come on, you know what I mean? Like, let's make it into a 2 or 3 hour event. It's not a 7-hour induction thing. So anyway, it was still a great week. But guys, we're hungover a little bit, and instead of making this another recap show, we're not going to go over every match. But there's a lot of highlights that stood out this weekend. So a lot of different things that we want to talk about. We're going to skip over some stuff. I'm sure people are going to tweet us and respond like, why didn't you talk about this? Well, we didn't care for that match, or we didn't really care about it. You know, so trust me, there were some good matches on there that we don't really need to get into, but...
You mean we're not going to talk about Brock and Roman?
Oh, we'll talk about Brock and Roman, but... Guys, I don't know if I need to start this off with the biggest moments of the weekend, but I just want to put it out there that... You know, I'm officially I'm okay with Asuka, and I'm okay with Shinsuke again. So the time has come. You know, 7 months ago when I kind of came across this Japan hating streak that I had going. I was a little bit bitter. You know, I didn't like streaks in pro wrestling, and the streak has ended. So I think that my relationship with the Japanese might have ended as well. We'll see who else I'll hate by the end of the show. But guys. The streak is done, Cooter. The streak is done. I was clapping.
You
was happy.
Are by far
the
most obnoxious bastard in the world. And I'll explain this to you. You have this long build-up. You're building up a superstar, okay? And in the end, it's to put over, arguably, in my opinion, a woman who's going to be the best female wrestler in WWE history.
For sure.
You've heard me make all the jokes about Charlotte, but this performance by these two ladies was incredible. It was a great story. It didn't have the greatest build, but the story they told in the ring was worth that God knows how many day wait. And I'm telling you.
For sure.
And what annoyed me so much, I'm sitting there in awe of this. Like, oh my God, this is what I was looking forward to the most from WWE for the whole weekend. And here's Credo, not 2 seconds after the pin. Yay, the streak is over. I'm sitting there like,
glory, hallelujah.
Tears in my eyes. And here's Credo, who still can't let fucking Pearl Harbor go.
Pearl Harbor?
Okay?
I was just going to go there with Pearl Harbor.
You guys.
Stealing my bid.
Oh, but guys, come on. The streak is done. I mean, Asuka is finally humanized. Okay, here's this. The streak is done. Great match. Great Mania moment. But now, when will her second loss be? Is it kind of like we knocked her off that shelf? Where do we go from there,
I don't think it matters. But go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
I think that, yeah, the streak is gone. They could have made a lot of money off of merchandise and all this stuff. It could have been an attraction, but they got rid of it. It is what it is. Move on from that. But what I think now is that they can have a good back and forth feud with Asuka and Charlotte. I think you can have a potential feud of the year with these two. Trading wins and losses back and forth. I mean, granted, Carmella cashed in, which is something we'll get into later on in the show. But I think that title's not going to be on her too long. I think it's going to go back to one of them two, actually. And with the shakeup coming up, I think it benefits Asuka to go to SmackDown, and we can get that back and forth feud.
And I think it's going the other way around, Mike. I think they're going to put Charlotte back on Raw, and I think that's the reason why they take the title off of her, because they had such chemistry in the ring. I see Asuka and Charlotte on Raw because they want those main big feuds on their flagship show, in my opinion. I got to throw this out there. This, to me, in my opinion, is probably the best women's match that I have ever seen. I think it was better, or at least on par, if not better, than Bayley versus Sasha Banks at NXT Brooklyn. That was the greatest female match in history.
It's definitely up there. It's one of those things I have to. It's been a while. I have to like see them back to back, but it definitely. And I'm surprised how early in the card it was too. Granted, I know they got to space things out for timing, and I get it. But I honestly thought that would have been like the second to last match, just because they kind of wanted maybe that more in the quote unquote main event later on card. But I mean, it is what it is. But I was just surprised it was that early.
You know what I was surprised at? Not just the performance, but all right, I'm gonna say it. Charlotte looked amazing. God knows how much weight she dropped training and getting ready for this match. I've never seen her look so lean and so fit. She was incredible. In every way possible. Her ring psychology, her in-ring look, and her performance outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't disagree with you on that one. She looked incredible. From even her entrance, I thought was one of the best entrances of the night. I thought it was great, and all the gold attire and everything. I will go off and say right now that match was my favorite match of the night. And I was looking forward to Shinsuke and AJ. I was so hyped up for that, and I was hyped up for Charlotte versus Asuka. But that clearly is my pick for the match of the night. It was Charlotte versus Asuka.
Oh, yeah, guys, once again, I got to make a shirt. The streak is done. I'm happy. But on a more important note, there was other women who had matches that night. Ronda Rousey, another talk of the town, because everybody kept, knocking her. Like, she's horrible at promos. We haven't seen how she's going to wrestle, this and that. And it was one of those things. We got to wait and see what happens. But, Mike, man, I think she proved critics wrong, maybe?
Yeah, she definitely did. And anybody that said that she looked horrible in the ring, I don't know what the fuck you were watching. There's these trolls that went on for months. It's like, she's going to be terrible. She's this and that. And I kept saying, this girl's a natural athlete.
All right,
just give it a shot.
Go ahead.
Just give it a shot. Oh yeah, you're one of them.
I'm one of them. But you know what? I'm going to say this.
But I'm not calling you out. Let me finish before you get going.
All right.
She went out there and pretty much gave every critic out there, including Cooter, the big fuck you. I'm killing it tonight. And to be all serious, I thought she was phenomenal. I thought it was great. She's got to work on facials a little better. And yeah, she's got a promo work to do. A lot of promo work to do. But other than that, she sold well. I mean, from her flying arm bars looked incredible. Everything about that match. And not only that match was just so entertaining.
Yeah.
It was the entertainment of the night, where you were just so into it, what was going to happen next, where you thought the match was over at one point and all of a sudden something happens. And I absolutely loved the interaction between her and Triple H. How she pretty much squared up with Triple H and the ref was getting in the way, and then Triple H took the ref and put him in the corner and said, "Let this happen." Man, I just love that interaction. I really did. And normally you don't see the WWE doing male on female interaction like that, but they did it with that, and they did it successfully. I thought that match was incredible.
We got to throw props to Kurt Angle too, because he started off slow in that match, but towards the end and the payoff of the match, he really turned it up, man. And I got to give him a lot of credit and a lot of respect, because he's another one. I was like, he's going to look at that fucking pudgy ass gut of his. He's going to be, and he's up there in age, but you know what? He did his thing. Let's get to Ronda. All right, Mike. She was in that match fantastic. And so was Stephanie McMahon. For Stephanie McMahon and here's the point I want to make, because this match had to be 100% choreographed. All right. Especially for somebody like Stephanie McMahon, who's not usually an in-ring competitor. How is Ronda going to do when they're calling the match in the ring and not? Are they going to have to choreograph every? All right, she can wrestle. She looks great in the ring, but what is she going to do when somebody might try to take a liberty with her when it's not 100% choreographed? Somebody like a Sasha Banks or somebody like I don't know. a Bailey who's like, well, you haven't paid your dues in this company and you're already ahead of us on the card.
I wish that someone would shoot on Ronda to see what
I'm not saying shoot on her, but hey, you know what?
Here's my thing.
There's a flying potato coming her way. What's she going to do, man?
I'm sure she'll strike back, but I think the best thing for Ronda now, if they don't have any plans for her right now, send her to the PC. I mean, granted, she's a full-time wrestler now. I am okay with her not being on TV as long as she's in the Performance Center working on her promo, working harder on her in-ring ability. Even though her in-ring was great, she still has work to do. Let's just face it.
Yes.
So going to the PC, I think, is the best thing for her. So when she does come back and has a one-on-one, she'll actually be a lot better than what we think.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, granted, for her first match, it was great. I mean, yes, it was a tag team, but it was still, she showed what she can do, and then kind of like a look in the future, if she still works on things, what she could possibly be. But, I was entertained. I popped for a lot of those, the arm bars on Steph and, just everything she was doing. But I'll tell you, man, I think Kurt and Triple H, as great as they held it together, I don't know, man, they have, like, a very few matches left in them, I think, to where they could really, really go.
Cherish these moments, man.
It was one of those things to where I know this kind of tag team match kind of helped mask that a little bit, but just watching them, I mean, I love Triple H, I love Kurt Angle, but they're starting to be a shell of themselves, if you will, to where, I mean, there's only so much more they could do before they start just becoming that old guy. So I hope they give them one more maybe decent match as a single. But at the end of the day, there's not too many much. There's not much left in the tank, I guess, for those two, because Father Time is calling both of them. But at the end of the day, man, I loved it. I didn't have really any gripes about the match, But Cooter, AJ Styles versus Nakamura. Did it hold up? Because everybody was talking about this as the dream match. Everybody who saw their match in Wrestle Kingdom in New Japan. Fast forward to WrestleMania. Did it hold that allure? Was it still fresh for all wrestling fans? I mean, did you love it? Did you hate it? Did it hold up?
We were texting each other during this match, and I remember we were like right at the beginning, and I remember texting you guys that I thought this match was the drizzling shits. It just was not getting over, in my opinion. But then, say halfway, through the match, towards the end, they really turned it up. They started it off slow, and then they really turned it up. I love the finish. I love the ending. I love the swerve at the end. Is it as good as the Wrestle Kingdom match? No, I mean, but those kind of matches come once in a lifetime. I mean, lightning rarely strikes twice in the same place. It's not even on par with that other match. However, I mean, dude, for a WWE title match at WrestleMania, that's probably it was certainly better than the fucking Universal Championship match. That's for damn sure. If we're gonna say that, but in terms of a WWE title match, it was fucking phenomenal. It was no pun intended. It was just a great match.
Yeah, I mean, I loved the match. I thought it definitely didn't hold up to the match in the Tokyo Dome, but it was still, for me, was just like the anticipation. I felt like it was worth it. Wasn't as big as I thought it was going to be, but the swerve at the end, I liked it. You guys saw how hard he fucking punted AJ in the head.
Oh yeah!
Shit!
Oh my god!
Strong style kick.
Sure.
That's the Nakamura that I've been waiting for. That guy that would just kick you in the face like he did to Sami Zayn, or like his style in that match with AJ, where he was just ruthless. That's the Nakamura I want to see. My only concern with this heel turn is, in Vince McMahon's eyes, he sees an evil foreigner. Okay, so we all know where we can go with this, and I'm not going to go too much into detail, and that's my only fear. Other than that, I think if they do it correctly, it can work.
For sure. I definitely didn't see Naka walking out with that title, but it was a good match. I really have to watch it again. I kind of just watched one take. I really have to go back to some matches and really just watch it again, just to soak it up a little bit more, because like I said, it's 7 hours, man. You're kind of like balancing what you're doing that whole night, man. So it's you kind of get taken away from some things.
A lot of those matches and the ass end of that card, bro. I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, is this really as bad as I think it is, or am I just that tired?
Exactly.
I remember, what was it? Lesnar and Roman was over at like 12:05, and I'm like, fuck, I got to be up for work in 4 hours.
Yep, and it's like,
what the fuck?
Exactly. So you don't know if you're taking your own personal like fuck, or was it really a lot better than what it was in a way. So that's what I really have to go back and check it out. But okay, we were entertained by John Cena sitting in the crowd. Then one of the refs tells him something, whispers in his ear, and then he pops straight to the back, and then we don't see him for at least 2 or 3 matches, I think it was. And then, he comes out, the whole thing with Elias, and then The Undertaker was there. Guys, man, I honestly thought there was going to be a stipulation like, all right, Cena, I'll fight you, but loser leaves town. Something like that. Man, is Vince really fucking pulling this guy in every year just to put on something? And I didn't hate it, but at the same time, I'm like, just let him go. Like, stop. Like, you're starting to ruin The Undertaker's legacy. Yes, he beat Cena, but still, it's just like, come on already. I'm at that point of like, it doesn't need this anymore. You know what I mean? Unless you give it to a younger guy, start up a new streak or something, but at a WrestleMania streak, if you will. But still, I mean, is this needed? Is there even an end game for the Taker, or is he going to still be walking out there when he's like 90? What happens?
I was okay with the build up to this, and I think they did it right. They surrounded it with a lot of gaga. You know what I mean? A whole lot of, to mask the fact that there's no way that the Undertaker is going to be able to work a full length match without taking some good bumps. And they basically, accentuated his positives and hit his negatives there in that match. I mean, they let Cena beat up Elias, and then, Taker came in, did his entrance, scared the shit out of Cena, and it was basically a squash, and I was okay with it. It doesn't need to go anywhere. Is this something I want to see every year? No, but it's not something that's going to be like, oh, I'm not watching WrestleMania if The Undertaker. It was a short, quick match, and it was like, all right, cool. We got to see The Undertaker. Was he going to show up? I mean, I would have more, like Mike said, enjoyed, the badass, the American badass, and maybe see him cut that promo, like Mike was saying, as Mark Calloway coming back at fucking Cena. I think they, missed that opportunity of building it differently, but all's well that ends well. I mean, fuck, Undertaker looked great. Can't argue that.
Yeah, I can't go into any more detail with what he just said. I completely agree. I mean, they hit everything. I was okay with how it was because I don't want to see a 20, 25-minute stinker. And when that match was less than 5 minutes, I applauded because you're helping me move along quickly with this card. So, yeah, I was fine with it. I really was.
Man, the whole match was longer than his damn entrance and all that other stuff that happened, too, once again. But, man, like next year, like the build-up was unique. I give him that to where, like, will he show, will he not? But yeah, it was different for that aspect. But I'm like, man, are they just trying to make up for the stink fest that Roman gave him last year? Or try to like
absolutely. And I think they needed to
save that reputation.
They had to. Roman fucking fucked him in the ass dry last year. Gave him a terrible match. I mean, a lot of that was Undertaker's limitations, but they should have known that going in there and shorten that match up and not try to do so many big spots with two big men. I mean, last year when they tried that reversal on the tombstone, he couldn't get fucking Roman Reigns up. You just knew that the Undertaker couldn't do those kind of things anymore. Can he still work? Yeah, in a limited fashion. They finally figured it out, and they're doing it the right way now.
Definitely. Well, I don't want to spend too much time on this one, but guys, I was hoping for like a legend. I was hoping this would be more of a squash match than actual something. But Nicholas, like the son of a ref, for anybody we all found out later on online, he wasn't just some special random kid. He actually was one of the referee's sons, David Cohn or whatever. Man,
oh my God,
what the fuck? Like, stop! Just stop trying to be different. Stop trying to be like, ooh, we'll get him with this one. We'll have a fan become a. No, just stop. Like, we don't want to fucking be the wrestler. If we did, like, we would have done something about it. But, Man, what a waste. What a waste. And yes, he relinquished it the next night and all's forgiven, but you could have had a bar match versus, the Revival or, or the Club or just... this wasn't needed. This was a waste.
I got a theory here. I really had a theory. I mean, Braun is built up as this fucking monster among men. He was supposed to be like this most dominant heel. And the fans love him, I think they might be giving up on Roman. And I think they're testing the waters of how can Braun look as a true babyface and not just, that fucking monster among men. He doesn't always have to be pissed off and angry. He can be that gentle giant. I'm wondering, are they looking at Braun as the face of the company potentially? I'm wondering.
It was almost like
after that.
It's like a face turn in a little bit. I mean, it was just putting him more on the lighthearted side, but
a little more of a lighthearted side. Is he going to be doing the Make-A-Wishes like a John Cena? I don't think so because of how this was done. But I think that was them trying to test the waters.
I'll tell you something right now, man. I was talking to one of my friends who's a casual fan. Doesn't watch as much as we do, but he'll watch like the big shows like WrestleMania and all that stuff. He, I was trying to like coach him through like, all right, this is supposed to be a surprise. Like it could be this guy, it could be that guy. Like the anticipation for this. He said when he saw I was a little kid, he just turned it off. He was like, I'm not interested anymore. And I wish I would have turned it off too because I thought it was dumb. I thought it was horrible. I mean, there's so much you could have did with that. And not only that, but it makes the Raw tag division just look stupid that this happened. It plays the division. You completely buried your entire division. Now you have to start from scratch to bring it up. I absolutely hated it. I mean, yeah, they relinquished it the next night on Raw. And I actually laughed a little bit when he said, Nicholas has scheduling conflicts. But besides that, like I just hated it so much. I really did. Like I don't. And like you said, it wasn't like just some special random kid. It was a referee. It was John Cohn's kid, and it was just like what the fuck, man. Like I'm still kind of speechless and lost for words about this. I don't know where they were going with this. I don't know why they did it. It was just stupid. It really.
Here I am thinking it's a Make-A-Wish kid because that was my theory. I'm like, is this?
No, it was John Cohn, the referee.
Yeah, I know. And when I found that out, it was when I really got pissed.
Yeah, and then it was like, oh fuck, you didn't pick just any kind of kid. Now you just fucking picked us in this business, and it's like, oh come on.
Like if that was like a Make-A-Wish kid who was gonna like, suffering with some kind of like really terminal disease. I'm like, all right, I get that. That's a special moment for somebody. I'm like, I'm okay with that. But just to find out that it was the ref's kid, I was like, that made it 3 times worse than what it was.
Enough of Nicholas. I'm done with that. The Roman loss that night, though, guys, was kind of surprising. There's some news going around that decision didn't happen until that day, which I'm not surprised. I mean, we all know Roman was going to get booed that night. Nobody cares. Like, he fits in that category of we just don't care anymore. And what made it more surprising is that on Raw, he came out all mad because now he's booked into a rematch with him at the Saudi Arabia show, the Greatest Royal Rumble. And I'm like, stop. Just stop. Like, you didn't let him win at WrestleMania. When do you plan on putting him over? And the amount of F5s he took and just kept kicking out.
Don't get me started.
Stop. Like, come on, man. You just... Oh, anyway, guys.
The producer that put this match together needs to be fired. He needs to be fired. Whoever booked this match and produced this match, holy shit, man. Fucking 6 or 7 F5s and he's still kicking out?
He kicked out of 5 F5s, Mike. 5 F5s. And then the 6th one after the elbows is what did him in.
And not only that, but... And I'm keeping track because there's a guy in the front row that every time a suplex was hit, he would put up a sign with the number. And that number went to 11. 11 suplexes, 5 F5s, and he's still kicking out. What the fuck? And you got Braun Strowman, who survives a fucking ambulance wreck, who gets crushed in a compactor, a trash compactor, and it takes 1 F5 to put out your beast, your monster amongst men, but when fucking Roman Reigns comes in there, you're telling me this fucking Princess Bride fairy tale that he's kicking out of. Oh my God, it just bothered me. And the fact, I mean, granted, now the interweb says that Brock went off script and busted open Roman hard way, and Vince was fuming because the Louisiana Athletic Commission specifically said no pile drivers and no blood. So they're not going to WWE. I mean, they have the money to pay those fines, but they're not going to step on the Athletic Commission's feet, because when you do that, the next time you're in their commission, their state commission, they fuck with you. So they were doing their best to not have any blood, and then you have Lesnar who goes off script and elbows the shit out of Roman, causing a fucking blood pool.
Oh my God, that was dripping. That was dripping,
Holy
man.
Shit. That was the best part of the match, though. Other than that,
It was the only good part of the match. I got to build on what you said, Mike, because you talk about Braun Strowman doing this. Braun Strowman spent the better part of the year making Roman his bitch, destroying him.
yeah.
And that one F5 took him out. But the guy who beat the shit out of Roman all year can only take one, but Roman can take 5.
Ugh.
That makes absolutely no sense to me. I was more interested in Twitter at that point because I'm trying to find out what the fuck the crowd is chanting at. Because I'm like, they're chanting at something, they're cheering at this, and I'm like, it's got to be a beach ball or something.
They chanted the worst part about it, and I was laughing so hard. This was the funniest part of the match. The crowd was chanting, "This is awful."
Yes.
And Michael Cole goes, "The WWE Universe thinks this is awesome." And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, I'm not even there live. I'm sitting at home, and I can clearly hear them saying, "This is awful."
This was
And
a CM
Cole
Punk
is sitting there,
chant.
yeah.
Ugh.
And Cole is sitting there saying that they're saying this is awesome. Don't fucking insult my intelligence, please.
Yeah, it was, I also heard reports, too, after that match, Brock Lesnar was kind of pissed off, or something happened at the end where he was actually shouting, or people said they were seen shouting at Vince McMahon, and even threw the Universal Championship at him. Grain of salt, people, but these reports are coming in from multiple people about after that match, so I'm kind of curious of what exactly happened in the ring that, besides the blood, or, what went wrong in there or something, you know what I mean?
allegedly the interweb, like I briefly started going into it, how he went off script, and I think he went off script because he was pissed off how the match was booked. And like I said, I think the person that produced this match stood far away from Lesnar after the match. Didn't want to get near him. And Lesnar went backstage because he was just pissed about how the match was booked. And that's when Vince got in his face, because Lesnar, I mean, granted, WWE can afford it, but Lesnar probably cost them thousands of dollars that they're going to have to pay in fines to the Louisiana Athletic Commission because of the blood. So I'm sure that pissed off Vince. And plus, not only that, they're a PG product, so they try to stay away. They have no blood policy. So when you got a guy like Lesnar who goes off script, I mean, you have a fucking crazy billionaire backstage who doesn't want to spend money. They're gonna butt heads, and so that's allegedly what happened. Now, take that with a grain of salt. That's what I read on the fabulous interweb.
That's it. Well, guys, tell me now. We saw what happened at WrestleMania. Let's go to the greatest Royal Rumble. What the fucking name, man? Just fucking call it something else, but that's the rematch inside a steel cage. Are we going to give it to Roman Reigns in Saudi Arabia?
I think they do, and the reason for that is I think they're going to get a better response from the live attending fans in Saudi Arabia for Roman Reigns than they were going to get in New Orleans. It's all about them getting the reaction that they want. And the Saudi Arabians, I don't know how they're going to react to Roman winning. Do they hate him as much as we do? I don't know.
Funny. That'd be funny if they do.
I don't know, but I guarantee you that might be part of the thought process. And like, for Brock Lesnar to just sit there in the middle of the match, I think it was after the third or fourth F5, for him to just go motherfucker in the middle of the ring. Like, I would be pissed off too. It's like, dude, how many of my finishers are going to... It's like, if that was the old days and people are kicking out of your finisher like 2 or 3 times, what Brock did would have probably only been the fucking beginning.
Yeah, I really want to go back and watch this match and kind of like analyze it to the point of, at what point does Brock say that. And did Roman Reigns kick out of a pin that he wasn't supposed to? Like, was that supposed to be the finish there? You know what I mean? Like, I want to kind of like, was that what he was mad about? And then that's when he just clonking him on his head to bleed? Or I really want to analyze this though.
Here's my thing now. Now, me being a full-time performer, like, I'd have a lot of questions about working with a guy like Brock now. I would want a nice payday. I don't care what my contract says. If I'm going to work a match with Brock, like, I want to make sure I'm going to be fucking safe. Because we saw him go off script against a couple guys already. Like, I mean, granted, there was an accidental knee on Braun's part, but then Brock comes out of nowhere and starts throwing fists. And then you have this. I mean, maybe Roman did kick out of something or did something that, an accidental something that pissed off Lesnar, and Lesnar went off script and just started throwing elbows. And that, I mean, is Lesnar a hothead? I mean, maybe he just doesn't give a fuck anymore, and he's out there just, because we all know he doesn't like people. He hates everybody.
And
he's to himself.
He did say he signed a new deal, but is that deal like another match?
And I was just about to go there. Because we don't know the specifics of that deal. Like, everyone's like, oh, it's a multi-year deal. And other people are saying, oh, it's just up to the Saudi Arabia match, and that's when he's gone. Like, we don't know the specifics. I personally think it's up to the Saudi Arabia match because I think he has no passion to be there anymore. I think he doesn't care. I mean, he's reckless in the ring, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, it was definitely interesting to see. I'm definitely want to go back to that just to kind of see if his mood just changes at one point to where I'm kind of curious.
And then one thing that was weird, you know how like in WrestleMania when the champion wins and he's in the ring and he celebrates a little bit because it's WrestleMania? Now, you know how every championship match ends like that? The champion's in the ring and they spend a little more time just because it's WrestleMania.
Yeah. You got to pose.
Yeah. Well, once Brock hit that 3 count, he literally got out of the ring and left.
Ooh. He's pissed.
Watch that. He literally, once the match was over, he didn't spend any more time in that ring. He got out of the ring, got the title, and they walked back up. That was it.
Wow.
Nothing.
Wow. Well, guys, that was some WrestleMania talk. I know we're talking your ear off tonight, but hey, we want to talk about some stuff happening. And that was just some of the stuff. But, guys, NXT also had a show the night before. Alistair Black, like I said, in no particular order, but Cooter, Alistair Black is the new NXT champion. Yay or nay? Good for business or what?
Nah, he's not ready to hold that belt. The guy can't even cut a promo. It was a great match. Andrade Cien Almas, just an amazing competitor in the ring. And Alistair Black is no slouch, but, I mean... Andrade was not the greatest person at cutting promos. They got him a mouthpiece. I think Alistair is going to be one of those guys who needs a mouthpiece. I don't see him with that character being able to really cut a good promo. I just don't see it. I'm getting to a point where I'm not really connecting with him. So I would have loved to have seen a little bit of a longer title reign for Almas, especially if he wasn't going to get moved to the main roster. But you know what? It is what it is.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go too deep into this match, but yeah, I enjoyed the match. I mean, I'm okay with Alistair Black winning. If Alistair Black didn't win, I'd still be okay with it because I do like Almas as champion. I'm willing to see what they do with this and where they go. Like, who's going to be the next contender that's going to challenge Black? It's stuff like that. Because I think he's a great in-ring competitor. I want to see what they're going to do next.
Definitely. Well, it was the match that started off WrestleMania weekend for the WWE, the North American Championship match.
Holy fuck.
Adam Cole comes out as your new and first ever North American champion. But, guys, also... the Undisputed Era also walked out of TakeOver as the Dusty, the classic tag team champs as well. So the Undisputed Era plus the heel turn with Roderick Strong, probably one of the biggest factions that probably aren't going away anytime soon, especially after these accomplishments, guys. But though that was one hell of a match and definitely one hell of a surprise with the heel turn.
Holy God, this might be my favorite ladder match of all time. Again.
Wasn't a ladder match.
No, the fucking North American ladder.
Oh, we're talking about the tag title match.
No.
Like, I blended it all together.
You blended it all together, buddy. Try and keep up there, homie.
My
it's all
bad,
good.
My bad.
Take it easy, Booker. Take it easy.
I heard the heel turn, like that part, and then I was automatically I was thinking about what I was going to say about the tag title match. But go on.
Resident Booker T resident here, Mike Colon.
Yeah,
all right. Anyway, before
coming for you, Nick. Yeah.
I'm coming for you, Kuda. All right. Again, probably my all-time favorite ladder match now. This when you have 6 guys who felt like this was their time and as if it was their only opportunity, I have to shine right now. And no fucks left to give. They just did anything and everything. Some of the craziest fucking spots. Oh, God. Just incredible. I did not see the Roddy Strong heel turn coming. That was a great surprise when they did it. I think that makes that faction all the stronger now. But, dude, EC3 needs some work, dude. That's all I got to say. EC3 had quite a few botches in that match. I know there's probably a lot of ring rust for him. But, dude, when you're, like, repositioning the ladder on yourself, and just stupid shit that, I mean, I don't think Credo would have done if he were in the match. It's like, dude, please get this guy some more work in the PC. He definitely needs it.
Well, I think now that he's part of the WWE system again, I think that PC work is definitely going to help him because he was never in TNA. He was never the greatest in-ring guy. He was more of an entertaining, like, cutting the promos. The segments were great with him. I thought one part of the match was hilarious when you had Killian Dane and Lars Sullivan in the ring about to square off, and EC3 standing on the apron, like yelling at him for them to kill each other. And that he's just so good at entertaining. In ring, he's okay. I think he can get better. Ricochet was by far like the highlight of the match.
Holy God.
That backflip off the ladder. Holy shit.
He's got a big set of balls, man, let me tell you.
Yeah, I would never do that in a million years. The backflip from the top of the ladder outside the ring. Oh, my God. I jumped off my couch when that happened. Mm-hmm. And then with the tag title match, like you guys, I never saw that heel turn coming. I thought they were going to win the tag team titles. But you know what? I'm kind of happy that happened because I don't know what they had planned for Roderick Strong if they lost. Like, I don't want a guy like Roderick Strong to get lost in the shuffle. And if that heel turn didn't happen and they didn't win, that's exactly what would have happened. Unless he got moved up to 205 Live, I don't know what they would have done with him. I think this is the best thing to do with a guy like Roddy Strong because you got that Ring of Honor stable.
Yeah,
and I think it's gonna be perfect. No,
for sure. It was definitely something that set the bar for the weekend. But guys. Shayna Baszler is the new NXT Women's Champion.
You can't win them all, Credo. You can't win them all, fucker.
Exactly, I can't win them all. But
he's got a bitch about something, ladies and gentlemen. Motherfucker.
My 2 cents is that I'm a person. If you win a championship, I like to look at your resume. Exactly.
Man, shut up.
You gotta remember this is NXT.
Oh my God.
Not the main roster.
But she had like a half of a match, and now she's the women's champion. Anyway, what'd you guys think?
I thought the match was great. I did. I thought
she was
Shayna
carried
improved.
by Ember the whole match.
That I gotta disagree with.
Carried.
That I definitely have to disagree with. Ember Moon is
in
good,
fucking hater mode right now.
Yeah, Ember Moon is good, but she ain't that good. I thought Shayna definitely improved. I really liked her in this match. I thought this match was great. I give Shayna her props. I don't think you have to pay her dues in NXT. I thought it was great. I really did. This is one of her best matches.
You know what one gripe about this match, and it's the same gripe I had for their last match. I get you got to have a little bit of a dramatic ending, but seriously, if it's taking you 2 minutes to either tap out or pass out in any type of like serious fucking submission hold,
rear naked choke.
Yeah, come on, you're really overselling.
Mm-hmm.
That bitch is like fucking Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan in that ring. It's like, seriously, at least when Stephanie McMahon was blocking an arm bar from Ronda Rousey, she's locking her hands. That bitch is in an armbar in that first match for God knows how long, and I'm like, okay, now you're in a rear naked choke for like 2 minutes. Bitch, if that was a real rear naked choke, you would have been out in like 20 seconds.
Exactly. If it was a tight rear naked choke, man, the blood circulation being cut off to the brain. You're waking up. You're waking up with people like shining lights in your eyes, just trying to smell insults.
I get it. You gotta fucking suspend a little bit of disbelief. But I mean, when we're in a hold for anything more than 25 seconds, and you're not tapping, listen. You're not that tough, okay? You're not that tough. Nobody's that fucking tough.
All right.
Moving along.
Last but not least, another last highlight of the weekend was Gargano versus Tomaso. Man, the heat that Tomaso has, man. Whew, I love it. Just getting booed out of the ring. I loved how he was soaking it in, just feeling all those boos, closing his eyes. Man, that was a great way to start the match. But guys, Gargano is back in NXT. He won it. But will he be there for how much longer? We'll see. But what'd you guys think of this? Was the payoff with Gargano?
Best match of the weekend. My opinion, hands down, best match of the weekend. Like you said, I'm sorry, not Gargano. Ciampa coming out with no music and just the sounds of the crowd. I thought that was fucking phenomenal. I thought that was great. Him just standing there, just taking it all in, and them chanting "Fuck you, Ciampa." That was fucking amazing. And then the match was just, I mean, I'll let you guys go into detail with it. I'm just going to say that, in my opinion, best match of the fucking weekend.
It's definitely up there. I don't know if it was the best match. Best singles match of the weekend for sure.
Yeah.
And that's even debatable because I'm such a fan of that Charlotte and Asuka match. But, I mean, these two just know each other so well. It's like that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn fucking type. They just knew each other so well, and they just played off the fans' emotions all the way up until the end, and it's just incredible. That's a masterpiece.
Sure.
It just doesn't get any better than that. And fucking Johnny sitting next to fucking Tomaso right at the end, and he could have killed him right there, and Tomaso knew it. Like, it's just so great. The natural heat that Tommaso Ciampa has makes Credo so happy because Credo says Tommaso Ciampa's a dick.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, and briefly, we can do a whole show about this, and I want to learn about this in another show. We'll get into it, but Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, to me, they're wrestlers that I just don't care about. I'm not saying I don't like them. I'm not saying I think they're the best. They just fall into a category of, I'm going to watch it. But at the same day, I'm not going to go out of my way to, like, look up Johnny Gargano matches or, they just fall into a category of I don't care about them. And no offense, I was even surprised that this was the main event of the weekend. I get it, but at the same time, I always feel that your championship should be that main event kind of a match. But I know this had a lot more steam behind it, but still. I don't want to save that for a whole other day because we've been talking everybody's ears off tonight just on the recap. I think this is a whole show on its own. But guys, at the end of the day, NXT and WrestleMania, what do you rate it? 1 out of 10 stars. For me, for example, NXT, I'm going to give an 8 out of 10. For WrestleMania, I'm going to give an 8 out of 10 also. Now, for WrestleMania, it's 7 hours. The only 2 gripes I had about WrestleMania was Jinder Mahal winning and then Nicholas. Other than that, I enjoyed the show. Those were my only 2 gripes, so I gave it an 8 out of 10. NXT also 8 out of 10 just because there's just a few things I just didn't care about. But, guys, what are your ratings at the end of the day? How do you rate this in the star system?
I got to give NXT, which is my favorite show of the entire weekend, I'll give it I'm not going to give it a perfect 10. No pun intended with Ty Dillinger. But I'll give it a 9 because I was very entertained by this. It was a very entertaining and a very good show for a solid wrestling fan. If you want everything that's good about professional wrestling, that show had it. WrestleMania wasn't terrible. It really wasn't. I mean, the same gripes that you had, Credo, is the same gripes that I had. I didn't think it was a bad show. I thought they could have done a lot of things differently, but they didn't. Other than that, like I give WrestleMania a 7. So those are my grades for those two: a 9 for NXT and a 7 for WrestleMania.
Wow. Wow. I'm giving the NXT card a perfect 10. I don't care what anybody says. A lot of people were saying that the Ring of Honor card was going to be up against NXT, was going to be better. I heard it was not even close.
No, not even close.
That card from beginning to end had me on the edge of my seat, and I'm not the kind of guy who bitches about who wins a match. I look at a match for what it is. So it's not like I'm only giving it a 7 because Jinder Mahal won. I'm not going to be coy like Credo. I'm giving that card a 10. And WrestleMania, I got to agree with you. It's not terrible. But you know what? There were a lot of things that I just didn't like. And it wasn't because of who won. It was just really bad booking choices. I'm giving it a 6. I mean, which it just too much Gaga for me, and the length of the show.
Yeah, I was just gonna go there. That
you literally lose a star for the length of the show itself. You lose a star for Nicholas. You lose a star for the fucking main event not being Nakamura and AJ, and putting those two fucking bastards, and you lose a star because I don't want to give it the same grade as Mike. There you go. How about that?
Well, how about, if we talked about everything out of just those two shows, we'd be going over more than 50 minutes of just a recap right now, guys. Amazing. That's a show in itself, but stay with us, will you? We had some more stuff to talk about, but joining us right now, we are joined by Terri Runnels. All right, joining us today is a woman who was a former WCW and WWE manager. She was a former hardcore champion. She's one of the original divas, and she is as stunning as ever. Please welcome Terri Runnels. Terri, thanks so much for joining us.
Steve, thank you for having me. Am I allowed to give you a thank you off the top of the show also for jumping in and filling in when Lindsay, I believe it was when her grandmother died, right? Or no?
Yes. I helped fill in Cigars, Scars, and Superstars.
It's Superstars. And then, bless her heart, do you know what happened after that?
Oh, I did. It's a shame.
Bless
crazy.
her heart. Like, the day after she buried her grandmother, her grandfather passed. I mean, it's unreal. So, yeah, you jumped in and helped us out in a pinch. And also, you do such great correspondent work for us. So we're happy you're in our family. And I'm so happy to be here on your podcast. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Now, I know they say to never ask a lady her age, which I won't, but you are as beautiful as ever, though, Terri. What is your secret, though? Because you look great today. You're still looking amazing.
Man, you are very sweet, but I am sitting here with no makeup on right now, and I'm looking at, there's a mirror in my mother's guest room that I'm sitting in, and I can see myself, and I promise you it's called smoke and mirrors. That's what helps me. Literally, like, I so often am tugging on skin going, oops, okay, I think I need a facelift. Oops, I need to have this done. Oops. But yeah, I haven't done anything in a really long time, so I never tan my face. I don't know if that helps, but yeah, good old fashioned taking care of your skin helps a little bit. So
there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you said Cigars, Scars, and Superstars. If anybody out there who hasn't heard the podcast yet, please go out there and listen to it. TerriShow.com. You can find the links there. We'll post the links too for everybody who hasn't heard. But first and foremost, how did you get into the podcast game, Terri? What made you want to dive into this the realm, if you will?
Well, I will tell you, I've had several people ask me to do a podcast, and I didn't really want to talk wrestling for the entire show. I just felt like there's more to me than just wrestling. And then somebody, kind of came to me and said, well, then talk about what you want to talk about in addition to wrestling. And that appealed to me. And, it depends. I love one thing about our show. First of all, I know our name, Cigars, Scars, and Superstars, is a mouthful. But one thing I love about it is you never really know what's happening next. Like one time we might not have any guest on that has anything to do with wrestling. It might just be someone I find really interesting or amazing in some way, and they're on, as a guest of ours. And then sometimes like this episode right now, episode 10 that's up, that just came up, what's today? Tuesday? Mm-hmm. It just dropped this morning. If you haven't started listening to the podcast yet, this is a great one to jump in on. It's Tony Schiavone and Vince Russo. It goes longer than I like to go because I know we all have busy lives, but it's a great one.
No, I listened to it today, and you guys are also part of the MLW Radio Network too. For everybody listening, everybody knows out there about MLW. How'd you guys get picked up with them?
I decided to, how did I first start? I think I called Tony Schiavone and said the guy that I was initially going to do a podcast with, turned out to be a little bit flaky. And he said, call Court. And I said, okie dokie. And that's how that was done.
Nice. I like to say we kind of painted ourselves into a corner with our name of another wrestling podcast, but I like how you do more than just wrestling, and that's always good to hear. But if we could rewind a little bit, you were a makeup artist at CNN, but how did that lead into pro wrestling? How did you go from a makeup artist into this world of pro wrestling?
Right. So literally, I was makeup artist at CNN. My job was to put on all makeup for any anchors and celebrities that went on air. And then because I was the low man on the totem pole, I just started with them. I had to do weekends. And on the weekends is when Jim Crockett would fly his boys in and tape his shows at Techwood Studios, which is, Ted Turner owned. At the time, it was not bought by Ted Turner. Ted Turner bought WCW later, but at this time it was just still the Jim Crockett NWA shows that they were doing. And so, I was a young little whippersnapper, and I had to do makeup for wrestling. And so it was a while. And they asked me, in fact, it was Tony Schiavone that took me to lunch one day, and he said, we have this idea for this character, and what do you think? Do you want to do it? And I said, we need to talk money. And then I said, yes, I'll do it. So I did both for a long time, which put me in the daggum hospital. I worked so daggum much. But anyway, going back to that, I believe that it was an Ole Anderson decision, and then Tony Schiavone executed the plan by, telling me all about it. The only thing I had to do with Alexandra York of the inception of that character was her name. I gave her Alexandra York because I thought it sounded snotty and bitchy, and
Sure.
She was supposed to be snotty and bitchy. So, that's how that happened.
Sure. Yeah. So from Miss Alexandra York, manager of the York Foundation, you would later also join the WWF. And excuse me, because this might be my New York accent, tomato, but it was Marlena. To me, I always said it the same way, and I think it's just, I don't know, it's one of those things to where I say a lot of different words different.
I say Marlena.
Marlena. Yeah. I don't know. It was one of those things, but yeah, Marlena.
But it doesn't offend me if people don't say it the way I say it, because it can be said anyway. So
yeah, it was one of those words I would always say both ways, and I just never, which, it was the same thing, but it sounded either way, But when you joined the WWF, you stood out to me, I think, because I think you were the first ever. Maybe the first ever lady I saw smoke a cigar, I think, on TV. I don't
really?
It was one of those things where I've seen guys smoke cigars on TV and this and that, but it was one of those things that you just stood out to. It was like, wow, I've never seen a girl like this smoke a cigar on TV. And I don't know, it's just one of those memories I have of what stands out to me. But how did you get into cigars? Is this something that you did before as a hobby, or did they say, hey, dude, you're going to smoke a cigar for this character, or what?
No, and I will go back a little bit with Marlena. So Dustin's on the road doing Goldust, and I had this epiphany. Like, I had just been at my sister's, and I'd seen her Bob Mackie Barbie doll called Sun Goddess, and the way she was dressed, and I'm laying there in the tanning bed, I'm going, oh my gosh, like what does WWF at the time? What does WWF not have right now? They had Scary Sherry, they had Sunny. So those, two had their own, had very distinct characters. And I thought they're missing glamour. And since Goldust is this everything about Hollywood, I thought that old Hollywood glamour that you miss or that you only see, at the Oscars, I thought that's so perfect. And she can be, since Goldust is, supposed to be androgynous of sorts, she can be, Marlena Dietrich was one of the first people in Hollywood females to wear pantsuits and, dress like a man, smoke a cigar, smoke a cigarette, that kind of thing. And so I loved that name because it was kind of an homage to her. Mm-hmm. And then the cigars, that's something I used to do like in private. I would do a bubble bath, a glass of wine and a cigar, mm-hmm. and just chill and relax. And I loved it. So I thought, what more perfect. Actually, I told Vince, I said, I either want her to go to the ring carrying a glass of wine, which, mm-hmm. that could have been fun too, or I want her to have a cigar. And we decided on the cigar. That was the one thing that they, I did ask for input on that one, but the rest of it, the entire gimmick, everything was mine. And so, it was kind of nice to be able to write off cigars for work because it was a nice little treat.
There you go. Well, like I said, it definitely stood out. It made you stand out at least from all the other the girls at that time. So it was definitely different. Now with Goldust too, you guys were, I would say, more or less controversial at that time with his character and whatnot. Did anybody, from wrestlers or anybody that you knew, ever question what you guys were doing? Because it was definitely outside the norm, I think, if you will. You guys were definitely breaking barriers with what you were doing, I believe.
Yeah, in the beginning, Dust, I think there were a few guys that were like, I don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. I don't want to work with him. I don't want to do this stuff. But once Dustin never wavered. I'm really proud of him. He could have taken that. And it was such a crazy, crazy character that Vince came up with. He could have taken that and really fallen on his head, and it would have been a disaster. But because from the minute he said yes, he jumped into it all the way and did it like with no I can't even think of the word I'm trying to say. No barriers, no nothing to, hold him back. He just went all out and did it. And I'm proud of him. Did I not answer your question?
No, you answered it. That's yeah.
Okay.
Because we see some characters today that kind of there's a newer guy. It kind of reminds me of how Goldust was when he first came in, and it's in WWE's NXT division. I think you don't really have to know who he is or whatnot, but there's a guy out there called the Velveteen Dream, and he's kind of doing what Goldust did. Not the same character or whatnot, but it's almost like he's doing something different to where it just seemed different at that time, and it's definitely it's unique, if you will, but it's something that always stood out to me. Now the Attitude Era, if we fast forward just a little bit, opened the doors for a lot of different things on WWE TV, especially with the competition from WCW. But you were a part of a lot of risque things from
my Lord,
from attire to a lot of other things that happened. But my question is, was there anything maybe ever proposed to you that you just never wanted to do that you could probably tell us about, or just, I don't know, when that kind of whole thing switched over into that Attitude Era? How did you feel about, just changing that whole character upside down?
Yeah, there was one that I really fought Vince Russo on, and that was the miscarriage. Mm. That whole miscarriage thing, and I begged and begged, and I lost that fight. Obviously, because you saw that story. That was, I really didn't like that at all. I hated. Okay, so my child goes to a lovely private school, and these mothers, they would see me on Monday night in a thong, doing a paddle on the pole match, and then I go to pick up my child from school or take her to school on Wednesday morning, and they all look at me like, we saw you last night. Interesting. So it was kind of like it took them a little while to realize that, I'm a normal person. I'm a very domestic person. I loved being mommy. I loved cooking. I loved all, crafts and doing stuff with Dakota. And they soon learned, okay, she's a normal mom. But yeah, initially they were kind of raising their eyebrows going, who in the heck is this woman that has stepped onto our school grounds?
now when that was happening too, I mean, I know they had to change what they were doing on TV to kind of get the ratings. I mean, they had to do something different, something where people were gonna tune in. But was it was it a weird environment for you to where did things change too fast for you as far as what you were doing, maybe, to where like, hey, one minute you're dressed in this elegant gown to now you're not wearing as much clothes on TV anymore? Did you feel uncomfortable at any point during the Attitude Era or no?
I felt uncomfortable every time, and I've told this story so many times, I respect the females that want to be wrestlers. I never wanted to be a wrestler. I love taking bumps from the guys. I'll take a bump from a girl, but I don't. My thing was never to be in a match with another girl. And I used to beg Vince, please don't make me do this, please. And, he'd say, oh, you're going to be great. It's going to be great. Okay, well, so for the rest of the day, I would literally want to vomit because I knew I had to be in a match with a girl, and they were going to teach me however many moves that, I was able to remember in an afternoon, and then I had to go out half clad and execute these things that I had just learned that afternoon. So it was I would literally be on pins and needles when I went to TVs waiting to see, can I just manage this time, or can I just be an interviewer, or can I, do I have to wrestle someone? And the minute I found out that I didn't have to wrestle, I was thrilled. I was chilled out the rest of the day. But boy, I tell you, yeah, I used to, and I said to him, I said, Vince, that people excel at things that they want to do, at things they desire to do. I don't desire to do this. Therefore, I'm not going to be the best at it. Please don't make me do it. No, you're going to be awesome. So yep. I just said, okay. And it's funny, I would be standing there at Gorilla and literally wanting to, wet my pants, throw up, everything all at once. But it's crazy. The minute I walked through the curtain, it was like I said, girl, you're going to have to fake it like you are comfortable and happy and all is great. And that's what I did.
You were briefly, too, the hardcore champion. What did you think about that?
Wait. Briefly, put that in giant capital letters with flashing lights. Briefly.
But that was it's in the record books.
Yeah, that night was a fun night, I have to tell you. I ended up, they wanted me in a dress, go figure, got to flash panties back then in the Attitude Era. Yep. I didn't have one, and so they pulled a black dress that was Stephanie's out of one of the seamstresses, had the trunks with all the different drawers, and I think they really quickly cut it off and hemmed it so it would actually fit me. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they wanted me in a dress for that. So, but it was a fun night.
Definitely. Now, fast forward many years later, more recently, I saw you at Raw 25. What was it like to be backstage again, maybe with everybody, and just to come out on Raw and see all the fans again?
You know what? It was so awesome to see everyone. That was great. It was like a constant reunion, constantly seeing and being around people that you hadn't seen in a while. A lot of the WWE staff that was there when I was there, they're still there, and it was great to see them. It was really, really nice. It's interesting. I said on my podcast that a lot of us felt like there was something more that we could have done than just walk out and wave. But by no means did I ever mean to insinuate that I was not honored and proud to be on that stage and represent a company and a brand, the Raw brand, that I had been on for so many years and loved for so much. So it was truly an honor, even though I was honest and told a few things that I felt. I was honest, and but like I said, proud and honored to be there.
Definitely. Now, besides your own podcast, what else have you been up to in the wrestling world? Because from what I understand, you're a general manager. Can you tell us about?
Dude, I am like Miss Biatch in charge. I love. First of all, I love the owner, Frank. He's awesome. He's great to work with. Does what he says he'll do. I can always count on him. But I am the general manager of Overdrive Pro Wrestling. Our second show is coming up on May 19th in Nashville at the Fairgrounds. It is so exciting. Like we've got Austin Aries, Colt Cabana. I'm having an issue with Robbie E right now. He's blowing up my phone, and I'm getting a little peeved with him. But he honestly, he's reminding me of the mosquito that you're trying to slap and make stop the bite, and you every time you slap you miss him. So that's what he's doing to me right now. But anyway, it's going to be a great show. Rock and Roll Express. Like there's some old stuff, there's some new stuff, and that's one of the things I love. Like if you were an old school kind of person, you will you'll go, okay, I got my money's worth. If you are a new school kind of person, you'll go, wow, I got my money. Like it's a great show. So May 19th, be there, be square, guys. I'd love to see you out there.
Definitely. Well, Terri, I could talk to you forever and all night, but
For days.
we only have so much time. But I encourage everybody, for everybody out there listening, where can they follow you, listen to your show? I know TerriShow.com. Any other mentions for social media fans listening can find you?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. So all of my social media that is truly mine is the Terri Runnels. That's me. It's interesting. I'll tell you really fast. If you have 2 minutes for me to tell this WrestleMania 25 story.
Of course.
Not WrestleMania, but Raw 25th anniversary. Mm-hmm. So I see when WWE is promoting this that, and I'm a big stickler for when you write out an email, not an email, a website address, that you should always capitalize the first letter in each word because it makes it easier to read, especially if it's a longer thing. So I'm looking, and as the tweets are coming out from WWE, everyone's is done perfectly with the capitalized first letter, and mine are all lowercase. And I'm thinking, well, that's crappy. So I go and look on my Twitter, and guess what Dum Dum did years ago when she set up her Twitter account? I did it just the way I detest it being done. I did it in all lowercase. So I had no idea that if you change your name in any way, you lose your verification tick. So I'm when I changed that so that it would be, correct, now I lost my verification tick. So I find that crazy and strange, but I promise you, even though the tick isn't there right now, it's me if you go to @the Terri Runnels. We've got awesome shirts. Go to www.cigarssuperstars.com. And if you get one of the shirts, you get a phone call from me. So that's a fun reason. We've got a cute shirt on there that says, I bought this shirt just so Terri Runnels would call me. I love that shirt. Yeah, it is. So anyway, and our tightly wound jester, we've got one honoring him. And I know there are a lot of tightly wound people in the world. So that shirt's for you guys. And yeah, thank you so much. And if you haven't listened to the show, now's a great time with Tony and Vince on there. So
perfect. Well, Terri, we thank you so much, and we hope to hear from you again soon.
Steve, I love you, man. Thank you.
All right, a lot of things happened WrestleMania, but more importantly, the night after WrestleMania is the Raw after WrestleMania, and then the SmackDown after WrestleMania. And what happens every year, we get call-ups, we get some returns. A lot of names, guys, like No Way Jose made his Raw debut. I did not repeat myself. No Way Jose made his Raw debut.
How long do you think that's going to last?
Adam Rose of fucking the Latino Adam Rose.
And that's what's so silly about it, is that he had his own little entourage, and it's kind of like taking what he was doing, but then adding, I don't know, what are you going to call them, Jose Buds? I don't know. Anyway, no way Jose is on there. Too much time with him already. AOP, Agents of what is AOP?
Authors of Pain, baby.
Oh my god, I'm thinking of like too many things in my head. Authors of Pain minus Paul Ellering. I get it. I didn't really know how you send him off without like destroying him in the ring, but Paul probably lives like 2 minutes from NXT, and now that they're not going to be traveling on the main roster, you got to get rid of him. But I'm not mad about that.
He wasn't traveling with him on the road anyway.
Exactly.
So I mean,
he
for
ain't
him
gonna
to
take
show
that
up
schedule.
for one night to just do a couple of tapings with these guys and be their mouthpiece, I think they'll be all right without him. They're not bad talkers if they keep it short and sweet.
Definitely. Ember Moon surprisingly joined. I didn't think they would send her up. I thought they might have did another little rematch with Shayna. Maybe they still will, but she's on the main roster now.
Yeah, I could see the
there.
third match with her and Shayna. Shayna pulls out an M16, shoots her 5 times, and Ember still won't tap out.
There you go. What was surprising is that Billie Kay and Peyton Royce debuted on SmackDown, but they also cost Charlotte Flair her title. But glad to see these two women on the main roster finally.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good God, yeah. Peyton Royce, my God. That is one of my favorite Instagram pages. Good God. I'm not even going to lie. Let me tell you something. I was surprised that Billie Kay wasn't in that, what was that, the Uterus Battle Royal on the pre-show. I know Peyton Royce was in it, but I didn't see Billie Kay in there. Glad to see them on the main roster. Good golly, Ms. Molly.
We had some surprises too, because we don't know what's going to happen with this shakeup. But we had returns. Samoa Joe returned. I know Cooter I know everybody I think loved this whole promo he had. Cooter, any thoughts about Samoa Joe's return?
Oh my God, my fucking hero. Dude, when Samoa Joe just tore into Roman Reigns, I'm wondering, I mean, like, all right, we get it. It's all a scripted show, but dude, Roman kind of sort of looked legitimately pissed at some of the shit that he was saying. And again, who wouldn't be pissed if some backstage shit really did happen between Lesnar and him and all this shit. But my God, Samoa Joe, just amazing in all. His fucking promo skills, ugh, I could listen to him all day.
Mm-hmm. And Bobby Lashley, I heard some grumblings about Bobby Lashley might go back to WWE, but I didn't know. I didn't expect it, but he had a good reaction returning, and I honestly did not know that Bobby Lashley had his eyebrows tattooed on his face, because I didn't know he had some kind of disease or something like that. I never knew that, but when they had a close up and that full HD camera on him, I was like, wow, he has tattooed eyebrows. Never knew that. Anyway. I didn't know. I never looked it up and never knew.
Yeah, fucking tattooed eyebrows?
Yes, tattooed eyebrows. He has some kind of, and that's why he wears a headband so the sweat doesn't go in his eyes. Never knew that either. I had to Google it. Anyway, I don't know what the hell it was. I forget what it was, but
is it alopecia areata or something like that?
I thought it was, but I think it was something else. If you look it up. Anyway,
I know what you're talking about. The guy from the NBA had that too. Villanueva. Charlie Villanueva. I forget what it's called, but oh my God.
Anyway, that's a stupid fucking. It is, but I was like, oh wow, never knew that. Anyway, Bobby Lashley's returned, guys.
Bobby Lashley's back, but his eyebrows aren't. All right, moving on.
There you go. What I thought was a lot better, to where, trust me, I would have loved to have seen it happen at Mania, but Carmella cashed in her Money in the Bank, and it was like looking at my watch every time we saw her come out, to where. When are you going to do this? When's this happening? And it happened. Just 1 week before the
You can't give Mania everything. You can't give Mania everything. Okay, then makes the show a little longer than what it should be. I thought it was perfect on SmackDown Live, because they need those what the fuck moments for the SmackDown Live after WrestleMania. So it was perfect placement.
Definitely. We'll see what they do with it, because they already gave her plates on the side, so she's got her name in there. And some people hate the Money in the Bank, to where it's like, oh, you didn't win it fair, you just cashed in on it. Other people, I think it works for, especially like Carmella, to where you're kind of in limbo, and boom, now you're the women's champion, and now we can rewrite all the stories around you. So it works, I think, in places, but I understand why some people just hate that gimmick still. But surprising, but not surprising, Paige retirement is official from the ring, to where we kind of heard grumblings about it too. And I keep saying grumblings. I don't know where the hell I'm getting that from. It's like the third time I said it at the show. But we knew that she wasn't doing any in-ring action after that kick that Sasha Banks did to her at a house show. And I don't know. They haven't really released what exactly happened in her neck or what the exact injury was. If there is, I just haven't seen it. But she can't wrestle anymore. They're not going to let her wrestle for whatever it is. And now she's the official SmackDown GM since Daniel Bryan's back on the roster. Maybe SmackDown will have that touch of grace and maybe heel Paige too, but I don't know, guys.
Are we sure that Sasha kicked her in the back of the head and not in the
video. I have
fucking
to
lips?
find it.
And not in the fucking lips? Because if it's just me or those lips get bigger every time she's on fucking TV, holy shit, how many Botox injections are you getting, lady? Jesus Christ, I hate this. I really do. I was so disappointed when she came out as general manager. I don't know why I was just so disappointed, but it's just like it does nothing for me. She's going to be one of the worst general managers. I don't know what's going to be worse. Her or that fucking computer, the anonymous GM. I don't know. It's going to be bad.
That's exactly two things I'm going to bring up. I fucking figured Mike would hate this because he hates listening to her talk. He used to do the impression. I'd stick her face in the pillow so she could just shut the fuck up. I can't even
do the impression anymore because that's how annoyed I am at listening. And I hear myself and I get annoyed with myself. I got to hear her.
The other thing I want to bring up, did anybody else notice? She's there one day, okay? And she's already giving Xavier Woods a number one contenders match.
I didn't notice.
What the fuck, man?
I just think they should have went with somebody like that had like some credentials. Well, not saying she doesn't have credentials, but like a legend or somebody that's like
career, man. That's what's crazy about it. In it's not
or somebody that's like a what the fuck moment. Like, come on, WWE, really?
Yeah, and
moving on.
I think it might be one of those short-lived things because maybe they're just still holding on to her till after that movie comes out with The Rock and whatnot. It's his movie, and it's just more publicity for them to be on TV every week. So maybe it might not be a full year with her. Well, maybe just a little bit. We'll see what happens. Lastly, more interesting stuff between Rusev and Lana, and I don't know, because one of the biggest mistakes I thought at WrestleMania was not giving Rusev the United States Championship just because of the presence of the fans for him. But Mike, can you get into this, because there was some tweeting that happened after this, because Rusev was announced about a casket match with The Undertaker at the Greatest Royal Rumble. What happened? Everything's falling apart now.
So apparently this Greatest Royal Rumble, which is not so great for Rusev right now, they announced that it was going to be Rusev versus The Undertaker. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, The Undertaker. He's wrestling again. In a casket match. And Rusev went out on Twitter and said, and he retweeted this with the quote, "Bury me softly, brother." And that, because we all know what's going to happen. It's a casket match. It's Taker's gimmick casket match. Taker is not going to lose this casket match. He's going to win. He's going to bury Rusev, not just literally, but figuratively with his career. Rusev Day. I think the WWE, what they're trying to do is, because this whole Rusev Day gimmick wasn't their creation, it's starting to go over organically. They're trying to do everything that they possibly can to bury this gimmick. I mean, they had him take the fall at WrestleMania. I believe he took a fall on SmackDown. I might be wrong. And now they're putting him against Taker, who this foreign crowd's going to love. And Rusev's just going to fail. So Rusev went off on Twitter with that. Lana goes off on Twitter just expressing her feelings about how this match shouldn't be happening, how Rusev Day, there's people chanting Rusev Day everywhere, and this is the treatment they give him along those lines. So the WWE pulled Rusev out of that match and put Jericho in. And now Rusev, he removed all mentions of WWE Superstar on his Twitter, and his tweet from 4 hours ago states, life, it is what it is. One day will be Rusev Day or somewhere.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy because it's like one of the things about pro wrestling is that just listen to the fans. If you're a booker or promoter or whatever, just everybody loves him. Well, let's put him over. Everybody hates him. Let's keep that energy going and make him do bad guy things or heel stuff. And it's just you're giving it to fucking Jinder Mahal, the U.S. Championship, for what? Only to have a rematch at the next pay-per-view against Randy Orton? Didn't we just go through this? Like, are you kidding me? We're going to have another Randy Orton, Jinder Mahal program? Stop it. Stop it, writers. Anyway, but yeah, man, Rusev, Lana, I hope, because I remember something like similar like this happened not too long ago, where I think he did something like this, but it turned up not being anything. But I don't know, man. They just keep not using him the way they should use him, and poor Rusev anyway.
Well, you know what? Let me throw my 2 cents in there because, dude, the guy has the worst luck, and they throw shit at him as a punishment. Like when him and Lana said that they were getting married on TMZ and that crushed that whole storyline, you know it pissed them off and you know what it did. You know, they tried to punish him and he still gets over. They have him job to Randy Orton and he gets that over. Like, he is the most unpunishable wrestler, you know, because he just keeps getting himself over. You should praise a guy like that, not fucking constantly punish him because he's good at everything that you give him, making it fucking worth some money. I just don't understand it. It's like, okay, you grounded me and I made it work. What the fuck? It's like bad parenting or something.
I know. Hopefully something happens with that superstar shakeup, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. But anyway.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, another edition of the Minority Report, and we're going to get into this because this is the talk right now. Breaking news. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. CM Punk, it's official. He's fighting Mike, not Michael Jackson, at UFC 225. Wow, an 0-0, an 0-1 versus an 0-1. Me being an MMA fan, and I'm reading a lot of the comments, what people are saying, people are pissed off that this match is even a co-main event. I understand what the UFC is doing. They are hurting right now. I don't think they're doing great financially. And a guy like CM Punk in Chicago could probably sell out the place and increase pay-per-view buys by pulling over the WB fans, because I know a lot of WB fans are going to go out to watch this event or buy it on pay-per-view. Here's my thoughts, and I'm going to try to keep this as brief as possible. I knew nothing of this Mike Jackson character until they announced he was fighting Mickey Gall, and the winner got CM Punk. Mike Jackson, 0-0 when he went into that fight. He didn't have a great amateur MMA career, and he gets his first professional fight in the UFC. He's allegedly a very good Muay Thai kickboxer and has a great Muay Thai background. This is going to be probably one of the worst fights in UFC history. Now, I can't knock CM Punk because he's training and hopefully he's adapting. Holy shit, man. This is not going to be good. I mean, this is going to be like two little kittens pawing at each other. Wow. I mean, Cooter, you know MMA, just, you know, you're good with stuff. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, God. You know, I felt bad for Punk when you put him in the octagon against a virtual unknown. Nobody knew how good of a fighter Mickey Gall was. I know nothing about this opponent. I think it's atrocious that it's a co-main event. Again, like you said, I get why they're doing it, because there's no marketable stars left. I mean, Ronda's gone. McGregor's in a heap of shit. God knows if Brock is even really coming back. God, Joanna got her ass beat again this weekend on Saturday in the UFC.
That was
card.
A great fight. I mean,
it was a great
fight could win either way.
Yeah, no question. But a loss is a loss. Is she still as marketable as she was before after 2 straight losses? Because you know how the UFC is.
You got Mike Jackson. He's taking the ball and running with this, man. I mean, he's doing a great job promoting it himself. I mean, I
saw that picture with him and fucking dressed as John Cena.
Dressed as John Cena with the Money in the Bank briefcase in his hand. And a week ago when the rumblings were happening, he pretty much took a picture with... I'm pretty sure Mike Jackson's a wrestling fan, because the picture was him, and I believe it was at Fan Access. And he had a Money in the Bank briefcase in his hand. And the caption said, "Punk, I'm coming for you." And that. I mean, I'm going to watch this fight. I am. I know millions of other people are going to watch this fight. This is what the UFC needs. Is it going to be a fight that's going to be talked about for years to come? Absolutely not. I mean, Mike Jackson, here's the thing. Mike Jackson only lasted 45 seconds against Mickey Gall. Now, I can't really say much about that. Like, I mean, it could have been his worst. It could have been a bad day for him. He could have got caught, or he probably just sucks that bad. CM Punk got his ass whooped for 2 minutes. I mean, there wasn't even any offense. It's like it's like the worst of both worlds.
The battle of the bums. Here we go.
Jesus Christ! Like I think we might have better competition on bum fights. Remember that show?
Oh my God, that was great.
Or it's I don't know. Man.
I can't even see this drawing pay-per-view buys because the rest of I don't even know what's on the rest of the card or if it's even like up yet. But I mean, any wrestling fan is just gonna go to Facebook and try to find somebody streaming it.
MMA fans are gonna watch this because Holly Holm's on the card. She's fighting at 145 pounds, and the card isn't bad. It really for Chicago. I mean, they're trying to build it up because it's in Chicago. Punk market. Is surrounded by good fighters in that card, so I think the card money-wise is gonna do fine.
All right, so from my outsider's point of view, because I don't watch UFC, I just don't have time. But 2 questions. A, if CM Punk wins, has there ever been a history at all of anybody taking dives in the UFC where, they're going to lose because of the money? Or B, that's a silly question, but, I'm just curious because,
No.
People ever... I don't know if
stupid question.
Okay, well, I don't know if there people ever do that kind of thing. Or B, if Punk loses, is it fair enough to say that why go back kind of a thing? I mean, if he gets his ass handed to him like he did the last time, I mean, I remember that ear, man. His ear was blown up like a balloon the last time. So if Punk does lose in this, could he, I don't know. Is he done with UFC? Is he done with fighting? Because, I mean, how are you going to book him again?
Let me address your first question first, because the way most fighters on these cards, they get paid to show, and then there's paid to win. It's two different salaries. So if you're taking a dive, unless you're betting on the other guy or having somebody do that for you, you're pretty much fucked. As for CM Punk, if he loses this fight, I could see Dana cutting him because there's no point in... Can he draw? Yeah, but you lost your fight, your first one, badly. If you lose this fight and lose it badly, no one's paying to see this happen the third time. First time, shame on you. Second time, shame on me. Third time, Vince, please take me back type of thing.
Okay, I'm gonna run down this card really quickly. And for those fans who don't know the names that I'm saying, I apologize. But, and those fans who do follow MMA, keep up with me. Because you're gonna understand that this Chicago crowd is gonna love this card, even without CM Punk. And so CM Punk, the card's gonna draw because the main event, you got Robert Whittaker versus Yoel Romero for the middleweight title.
Yeah.
You got Rafael Dos Anjos, RDA. I can never fucking pronounce his fucking
Dos
last name.
Anjos?
I can't. No, not Dos Anjos. Excuse me. Versus Colby Covington, who I said is perfect
the next Conor McGregor. Yeah.
The next Conor McGregor, perfect for professional wrestling, like that. Alistair Overeem's on the card. Everybody knows Alistair Overeem is the guy who beat the shit out of Brock his last fight. Okay, Joseph Benavidez. He's fighting Curtis Valdez. And that Joseph Benavidez versus Sergio Pettis. Freaking the Cookie Monster, Carla Espinosa versus Claudia. I cannot pronounce her last name, but I know for a fact that she's good. Andre Arlovsky's on this card. Rashad Evans is on this card.
Wow.
I mean, this card is stacked. Holly Holm's on this card. And then you have CM Punk. So this is a big card. So yeah, it's going to draw. Do I think the CM Punk is helping this card? Absolutely, because you're taking fans from the WWE and bringing them over to the MMA. The thing I am not looking forward to, and Cooter, you can 110% agree with me. I cannot stand when professional wrestling fans become MMA experts because their favorite wrestler is fighting, and I look forward to ripping apart people who fucking comment thinking they
Fight week is going to be troll week, Mike.
Oh my god, everybody's a fucking expert at MMA, and I always say this: please stay in your lane. Like if I don't know anything, I'll ask questions. I'll stay in my lane.
I'm not the kind of guy.
I'm asking you fans, if you don't watch MMA, stay in your lane, please, because you will get put to shame by people that actually do watch MMA.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the greatest. I know the names. I watch. I don't think I'm an expert, but you know what? I have, I think, a better opinion of it than most just wrestling fans. So I look forward to them just saying some of the dumbest shit, man.
I'll say one thing. I'm not an expert either. I'm a fan. I'm a hardcore fan. I know my stuff. If I was an expert, that means I'd be getting paid. And I'm not getting paid. So I'm not an expert. But I do know more than you motherfuckers when it comes to MMA. So stay in your goddamn lane. That's all I got to say. Take it away, Cooter.
All right, we're going to do a little bit different Angry Cooter mixtape this week, because if you want me to tell you the must-see matches of this whole weekend, that's going to be another 70-minute show. So I'm going to shout out 3 things, talk with you guys about 3 things that had me dying laughing this weekend in the world of wrestling. So I don't know if either of you guys listen to Bruce Pritchard's podcast. I know I sent you the link
You
to
did.
where
I
this
loved
story.
it.
How great is this? So Bruce Pritchard has a podcast on the MLW network, and he's talking about Bill Goldberg, his first run in the WWE, and he tells the story of when Chris Jericho throws paint on one of Goldberg's cars, and what precedes is the funniest impression of Vince McMahon screaming at Bruce Pritchard, and some of the stuff that is, I was in tears. I must have rewound that part. You smeared shit all over the business. At least fucking 30 times. And I just think
Fuck
of Mike.
you.
I just think of Mike doing, yeah. What the fuck was that? The story goes, after Jericho throws paint on Goldberg's car, Goldberg is supposed to run out, see a security guard, ask him which way he's supposed to go, and then follow him. Goldberg runs out, pushes the security guard aside, right? Gets in his car and drives the wrong way. Meanwhile, according to Bruce Pritchard, they rehearsed this like 10 times. And then you just hear Vince McMahon over the headset. Bruce, come to Gorilla. and just him telling this story is the funniest thing. And I guess they had been teasing this story for like a year. So they do that episode because Goldberg got inducted in the Hall of Fame. That was Friday. Okay, 2 more things that fucking had me dying. This week on SmackDown, they interview Nakamura, and why did you attack AJ after the ring? And it's, maybe it was because I was just too emotional. And I thought that was funny. But when she asked him again and said, I don't think you're being sincere. Seriously, why did you do it? Sorry. No, speak it English. I was in tears. I mean, I watched this on delay because I had to come home and I was DVRing it. Got home a little bit late. Meanwhile, my girlfriend spoiled the fact that Paige was the Raw GM, texting me, why is Paige the Raw GM? I can't avoid spoil. You know, you just talked about this the other day, how I turn off notifications from WWE Network, Bleacher Report. I stay off of Facebook. Now I gotta block my girlfriend's fucking phone number because she's texting me spoilers. What a dumb bitch.
Oh my goodness.
Love you, honey. Anyway, yeah, so that had me dying. The third and final thing, Sam Roberts and the creator of the lonelyvirgil.net webpage. For all you guys who don't know him, he's a radio broadcaster on Sirius XM network with Jim Norton and the morning show. Does have his own podcast, which to me used to be a great podcast. And then he started working for WWE, and it wasn't as good as it used to be, in my opinion, which is part of why this is so great to me. I tweeted this picture of Sam with 3 empty rows behind him. And it said the new, what did it say? The new Lonely Virgil, right? And I tweeted this picture to Virgil saying, payback's a bitch, isn't it? And Virgil liked my tweet, so I was super psyched. But the other thing that made me laugh with Sam Roberts, we had this argument over podcast hosts over the weekend. And I think Sam is a great broadcaster. I really do. I just think that once you start working for WWE, you stop saying things that you want to say because you're worried about getting guests and who they're going to let do your podcast. Like, listen, I'm not a big deal, so I kind of get away with saying the things that I like to say, because I'm not thinking that anytime soon we're getting Charlotte Flair on this show. So I might make the occasional joke, Credo. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Of course.
No offense to
And
our
you see why I'm
podcast.
not the angry Credo all the time, because I gotta get guests on the show.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? But
The
to
secret's
see
out.
him, I don't know if it was on the pre-show or at
Oh
the
my god, it was the worst.
dude. This is literally 10 minutes after this argument over podcast is going on, where I'm just making the point that, hey man, I don't get paid to do what I do. Well, that's why you're hating on Sam. You're hating on Sam, and I'm like, dude, Sam's a great broadcaster. And then he's on the network, and he has the biggest. He's gonna watch himself and get douche chills for the next 20 years. I was in tears. I can't even like repeat what was said because it just literally made no fucking sense. Live on WrestleMania, you had the biggest like fan mark out moment, and you just had no idea what you were doing. So kudos to Sam Roberts. We've all had these moments. I've had plenty of them. This is probably going to be your ultimate douche chill moment, being such a big wrestling fan and being at WrestleMania, and this happens to you. So that is the must-see laughs, or must-listen-to laughs in some cases, of the weekend. And I just smeared shit all over this podcast.
Fuck you.
Just
That
get
was
the
my
fuck
favorite.
out of here.
Fuck you.
All right, the Superstar shakeup is happening. We don't know what's going to really happen, but we know pay-per-views are going to be mixed. Guys are going to go from one show to another. How will that affect anything? So, guys, without getting too much into it, because we've already had a glorious WrestleMania post-show, let's just kind of throw out some what-ifs, because we don't really know what's going to happen, but just to get the ball rolling, here's my what-if. What if Finn Balor goes to SmackDown with the club, with the Good Brothers, and then maybe maybe if AJ stays on SmackDown, we could have, I don't know, a new club faction to where you have AJ Styles, Finn Balor, and the Good Brothers. It might be something different, a little bit something different on SmackDown, making me tune in. Because right now, I mean, if you're keeping Finn in the IC title hunt, it's nothing. So I think moving him to SmackDown might be beneficial, especially if we can get some Finn Balor versus AJ style matches and making Finn a WWE champion once again. But that'd be one of my moves. Another big move, I think, is you got to put Daniel Bryan back on Raw just because it's the A show. I mean, he doesn't need to be on SmackDown anymore. I think if you make the right moves in this shakeup, people are going to tune into SmackDown for what it is. But I don't know. Put Daniel Bryan on Raw so he overshadows Roman, kind of a thing, so we don't have to hear about him anymore. We'll see if that happens. And then lastly, I think if you're gonna move like a Daniel Bryan though to Raw, and does if he's gonna overshadow Roman, but do you move Brock and Roman to SmackDown and then AJ to Raw? Now I know I've already said I would like to see Finn over there and stuff going against AJ, but just to shake things up a bit, if you move AJ over to Raw, then you could keep the WWE Championship, and if you move Brock or Roman, I mean Brock at least now since he's the champion, but who knows what's going to happen in the next few weeks, could be Roman, then you move the Universal Championship over to SmackDown, because honestly that's been pretty much the secondary title. I don't know, that's just something some stuff I want to see, so maybe having Raw with the WWE Championship again, get the Universal Championship, which whatever, over to SmackDown.
Do that to my favorite show, dude.
I know we're just.
I hate you.
Secretly,
Like, I literally told you I stopped watching Raw because of Roman Reigns. So, fucking yeah, it's all right.
Just a little bit of something I want to see.
Raw will be the pure wrestling show. Which
all right. Well,
that'll remind me about back in the day when SmackDown was the pure wrestling show. Raw was more of like the entertainment, like hokey show, and then SmackDown had guys like Kurt Angle, Brock, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, the pure wrestling. I think they need to do something like that.
No.
Yeah, you literally said that SmackDown was the B show, and I'm like, no, it really isn't. It's been the better show, in my opinion, for a while now. I think a lot of guys have run their course in both brands, and the Usos are a classic example of that. I think you could move them over to Raw, and they've run through all the teams in SmackDown. They've had that fucking on lock, you know. Let's move the penitentiary, and you know what? I could see you making a stable with them and Roman. That'd be a great way to. You could keep the Usos as they are and put them in a faction with Roman Reigns. I think that would be cool. I mean, I don't think it's going to get Roman over. I think it's just a great heel faction idea. I would move the Miz back to SmackDown now that we got Daniel Bryan back. That was some of the best shit ever on the network. Those talking smack segments, and we kept saying for months, "What if? What if?" Well, guess what? What if can now become reality. So that's something. Listen, if we're building a 205 tag team division, can we just put Breezango to 205 Live? Because we're not using them on SmackDown, and there's such great. Tyler Breeze is by far one of the best things that ever came out of NXT. In terms of in-ring performance, he had a great gimmick, and we've put him with Fandango and made a corny tag team, which is entertaining, which now we don't even see on SmackDown anymore. You have to go to the WWE.com to watch it. So that kind of just sucks. Okay, well, let's put Titus Worldwide on SmackDown. The writers over there will know what to do with it. You know, Randy Orton, I say we send him to the Indies so he can gain respect. Bobby Roode needs to be put on Raw as a heel. Let's give him a nice heel turn. I think that would be the perfect way to do it. He's been a babyface on SmackDown. Let's send him to Raw. He can have a chip on his shoulder, and the real Bobby Roode can come out, and that's where he's going to shine. Because as a face on SmackDown, he's been completely unwatchable for me. Except for the mixed match challenge with Charlotte. Some of those promos together were pretty entertaining, I will say that. But other than that, you know, him and Droopy left. Yeah, look.
I just think you need to keep guys like AJ and Finn Balor away from Roman and Brock.
Yes.
You need to separate those two. It doesn't matter where you put what show they go on, as long as a guy like AJ and a guy like Finn Balor is not on the same show as a guy like Roman, and especially a guy like Brock. Because if those two are on the show with a guy like AJ and a guy like Finn, they're just never going to get title runs. It's not going to happen. And I want to see, you know, later on down the road, a Finn Balor title run. I want to see AJ keep that title and run with it, because I think his run right now is incredible. But if him and Roman are on the same brand, it's not going to work. That belt's going to end up with Roman. We know how Vince works. We know what Vince wants. Vince doesn't give a damn about what we want. It's what he wants. I'm just excited to see what this shakeup is going to bring. I mean, what happens with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn? I mean, they're not eligible for the shakeup. Where are they going to go? Send them to NXT. Fucking put Owens with the Undisputed Era. That'd be fucking great. I'd love to see it. I mean, that's Kevin or Sami Zayn. I wouldn't know what to do with him. I honestly don't. I think I wasn't a fan of this heel run with him, but now I'm actually into it. It's hard to justify what you do with him. Other than that, I don't know what to do with those two. If they're going to be on the main roster, where are they going to go?
Dude,
what?
Have you seen on Pro Wrestling Tees the El Generico store was up for 12 days?
Yeah, I did.
Hilarious.
It was fucking great.
We had the call-ups. Could more call-ups be done in this draft, or are there already too many from NXT? Because then it's really going to deplete NXT. I mean, do we have enough call-ups? I don't see anybody else really coming up, right?
I think you have Sanity. I think they need to come up.
Yes.
I think that they're the last group from NXT that I don't think they have anything left down in NXT. And I think with Sanity coming up to the main roster, whether it's Raw or SmackDown, it helps a guy like Lars Sullivan down in NXT be the big monster, because when you take a guy like Killian Dane and take him out of there, it's going to benefit him. And I think Killian Dane is going to be great on the main roster. I mean, he's a big guy. The guy can work in the ring. I feel like Killian Dane is going to be the guy just like a guy like Elias or someone like Alexa Bliss, who didn't do big things on NXT, like win a big title, but are going to do big things on the main roster. That's my opinion. So I think Sanity is going to be that group that's coming up.
God damn, Nikki Cross on the main roster would be great.
Yeah.
You know I love that girl. Nikki Cross is my boo.
My whole thing is, if they're coming up to the main roster, Vince, Kevin Dunn, book them correctly. Book them the way they are booked down at NXT. If you want to make them a heel group, I am okay with it, because right now they're over as faces. If they're coming up to the main roster, make them heels. I think they're better as heels. I just hope that they don't, fuck it up like they do with a lot of the NXT call-ups. I hope they do it correctly.
Sure. And last but not least, guys, I mean, with this shakeup, with these call-ups, it's also that time because, every year people would always, around this time, it's who's going to be future endeavored. I don't want to throw you guys under the bus, but can you think of anybody that's just like, let's cut the cord, man. We really don't need them. They're really not doing anything for us anymore. And, it might be better off just to let them go than see what they could do and then bring them back eventually down the line. Is there anybody that stands out on who could leave the roster potentially for something else? I don't know. We got to cut some slack because with all these other names, I mean, it's time to make it a fresh roster, right?
I don't know who the fuck you get rid of. I'm
like Heath Slater. I mean, I know he's the jobber guy, but still, I mean, you have him and Rhino jobbing right now. But other than that, I have no idea.
Kurt Hawkins.
No, I think they need guys like Kurt Hawkins and Heath Slater, because they're like, Kurt Hawkins has this cool thing going on, his streak. It's a different type of streak. We all know it's a losing streak. And Heath Slater, I think his gimmick of I have kids is still over. Not as over as it was before, but I think it still gets over with the crowd. I mean, but yeah, it's a big question mark. I mean, Black Friday is what they call it. It should be coming up soon. It always happens like a month or two after WrestleMania, and they call it Black Friday because that's what it is. It's Friday when they start releasing a lot of people. So I don't know what fat they're going to be trimming. It's hard.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm on WWE.com right now on their Superstar page, and just looking at some of the guys they have on there. I mean, Heath was one of the guys I just mentioned, but also, the Colognes are still are getting paid. R-Truth, I mean, they really haven't used him at all.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of like other guys as I scroll down of like.
Aren't they re-signing Big Show?
Yeah, but I hope it's like a Legends thing or something to where he's like working behind the scenes. I'm hoping.
You got to remember, Big Cass is due to come back soon too.
Yep, Big Cass. I mean, he's there. I mean, but guys like Titus O'Neil, Titus Worldwide, like there's nothing. You're not doing anything with him anymore. Don't release Apollo. Titus O'Neil can go. But like, what about?
You know what? Titus brings a lot of fucking character out of Apollo. I could see him being like a manager, and I love how they have Dana Brooke out there as like their statistician or whatever the fuck she is. It's a cool little group. I mean, I think Titus's in-ring days are done, but I think he's a great mouthpiece for somebody.
And I don't think Titus is going anywhere because he's a huge ambassador for the WB. And what he does for a lot of like the homeless and like the children, I mean, he brought a bunch of kids to a screening of Black Panther and bought out an entire theater. I mean, the WB loves this type of shit that happens outside. If someone like a guy like Titus does something like that and it gets a lot of media coverage outside of the WB, they fucking love it. So I don't think, I mean, if he's not wrestling anymore, I could see them using him as an ambassador role, like going and doing like, appearances for the WB, doing like anti-bullying campaigns, all that stuff. So I think Titus is going to have a long future with the WB. I don't think he's going anywhere.
Last but not least, I got the last possible group that could leave, and that's the Ascension.
Yeah, I could see that.
They are doing nothing. I mean, they started out really great in NXT. They were like a powerhouse team, and then it's just like they don't know what to do with their face paint every week, and they just seem to, they're not like intimidating anymore. It is what it is, and I don't know, it's one of those, time to let it go. But guys, I mean, we talked and talked. We talked about Mania, post-Mania, a lot of other things in between. Terri Runnels was our guest. Thanks to her for joining us this week, guys. we're not gonna do this every week. This is Mania season.
Certainly hope not. This is the worst 2 weeks of podcasting. I fucking hate this time.
Probably one of our first 2-hour shows. And hey, we didn't even run down all the matches. We just picked out some of the best from the weekend. So,
let me ask you a question before we go. What did you think of Nia's ring gear, Credo?
Oh my God! Because at first I have the Credo hates Japs, and now it's gonna be Credo body shames.
You fucking caught on real quick.
Credo's gonna be known as the body shaming guy, but I'm not, because I'm fat too, so it's all right. But
hey,
still,
listen, it's the end of the year. It's the start of a new year. WrestleMania is like New Year's Eve.
That's out with the old and with the new.
It's New Year's. So, but what's gonna be your wrestling, resolution? Mine is gonna be to make Credo as uncomfortable as possible every week here on another wrestling podcast.
Well, as long as I don't have to say I'm not racist, but it'll be a good show. But
I'll come up with something new. Don't worry.
Still, man, get the spandex, the see-through. Come on. No, we'll save that for another time. Pants
getting tight in the front, Credo? Was that happening?
No, it's. I don't want to get letters. That's why I don't want to get any calls to the show.
I love Nia Jax. She's a big, beautiful woman.
BBW, Cooter, just for you. All right, guys. Find out what happens next time on another wrestling podcast. Tune in.
Hey, Ma, next week is the start of the Superstar Shakeup for all the podcasts.
Really?
That's right. You're getting sent to Steve's Wrestling Ramble.
What? That's not even a B show. That's a Z show. Fuck you guys.
Oh, Mom.
The measuring stick just changed around here, buddy. You're looking at
the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
They think they got the answers. I change the question.
The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
These are the best in the world, brother. These are the best at what they do.
When we talk about the legends of the sport, there's only two in my book.
Another wrestling podcast.
Another wrestling podcast. Now can you dig that, sucker?